Hello. As you prepare to participate in Wednesday's PLC Unconference experience, I wanted to provide you with an outline of how the experience will go, along with some tips and answers to potential questions you may have. There are a couple things you can do before Wednesday to help get yourself ready. The first thing is review the goals that you've set for yourself that you might want to work with colleagues to achieve. Remember that the purpose of PLC is to really focus on our students' learning and how we as teachers can improve their learning and their experience. So take a look at those professional goals that you've set and think about which ones of those would really benefit from collegial work with your colleagues. The second thing you can do is if you already have an idea, and I've heard from several people just in conversation that they're very excited about an idea that they have, please submit those using the Google form linked in the email that you received. That way, in the interest of time, we can have those ideas posted up around the gym as people enter, and we don't have to take time to write them down the day of. So speaking of the day of, there are a couple of steps that we're going to run through on Wednesday. The first step is that you will arrive following the morning meeting. Please arrive having thought about your professional goals. You might be like the colleague on the left who isn't sure what idea they want to work on or how those goals might fit with other people's goals. And that's okay. That's what this day is about. Some of you will arrive with a great idea that you're really excited to work on. If it wasn't one that you submitted, please bring that idea as well. And you will find giant sticky notes at the entrance for you to write that idea down if it's not one of the ideas already posted around the room. The second step of this process is that we're going to ask you to mingle without commitment. So move around the room, do a gallery walk, explore all the ideas that people have already put up on the walls. As you come up to others also looking at those ideas, have conversations about them. Talk about what they might look like, how that work might go. If a new idea pops into your head or a group of you get together and have another idea, come grab a giant sticky note and post it up on the wall. If you are 100% sure that you want to focus on a particular idea, hang out at that idea and chat with those who also may be interested. The goal of this step is really discovery. What do our colleagues want to work on, and who might we be able to pair up with to achieve those goals? Step 3 of this process is that we're going to ask you and cue you to gravitate towards one or two ideas, maybe that primary idea that really speaks to you, or one or two ideas, and have more in-depth conversation with others who are also gravitating to that idea. We want you to talk to those people about what your goals are, how you might achieve those goals, what kind of work you could do together. Some suggested questions you might ask each other or topics to delve into. What are your goals related to this idea? How do you want to work on them? What ways of working are most appealing to you? Are we aligned enough to approach this together? And at the end of all of this mingling and talking and coming to coalescing around an idea and a group of people, we're going to ask you to indicate your choice, your one choice, on a form that we'll have. We want you to write down the choice of topic or focus that you have settled on through this process. They will be identified by a name but also a number, and the advisors will take that information and form you all into a group, and then you will continue the work of the PLC. So you may have some questions. So I put together a frequently asked questions that have not yet been asked. What if I have questions during the unconference? If that should happen, and we're all mingling around in the gymnasium, and you have questions, you can look for one of these 3 people. First, me, Lauren Coyle-Shirk, Becky Stratty, or Kim Bowman. If you don't know us, or if you're having trouble finding us, you will see a balloon. Go to the balloon. We will each be holding a balloon so you can find us easily. Another question. What if I don't have a group or a choice at the end of this? If that's the case and you weren't able to really connect with a group, or you still have questions, once we've gathered everyone's choices, we will contact those who have not made a choice and give them the information and contact of people who have already formed groups. And you'll have the chance to sort of shop through those groups and make a choice from the groups that have already formed. Another question, what if we have 20 people who all want to work on the same idea? In that case, we're going to ask that that larger group divide itself up maybe through a narrower focus or through dividing up the numbers of people in the group. So after this unconference, what happens next? During this week, the week of the unconference, so of Wednesday, the PLC advisors will put all of the people who chose the same idea in contact with one another. We'll do this via email and say, here are the 8, 6, 12, 20 people who chose this idea. On October 11th, that will be our first official PLC meeting time. As a larger group, you will work out your goal-driven, student-focused plan for your work together. You can subdivide, if your group is too large, into groups of between 4 and 12. We ask the groups be no smaller than 4 colleagues and no larger than 12. Once we get larger than 12, it tends to be less about each individual person's goals, and it's harder to focus the group. So we ask that you're going to divide into groups of about that size, between 4 and 12. You will also have one person for each group, not for each idea, but each group that can serve as a facilitation resource, someone who is trained in facilitation, either through workshops here at Culver or hosted through the School Reform Initiative, who's come to campus a few times, or that person can be willing to be trained. And the person who is willing will be set up to have sort of a shorter workshop type thing with Lauren Coyle-Shirk. Finally, we'll ask that one person from the group volunteer to be the point person, and that person who will be sort of the liaison between the advisors group and your PLC. And that person will share your plan with the advisors and also the progress once per term, quarterly meeting. That first meeting will be announced in the email that you receive prior to October 11th. So, just to review, to prepare for Wednesday, I ask that you think about and review your professional goals around student learning. Submit ideas if you already have them. And please arrive on time and prepared to find your focusing idea. If you have questions or concerns that weren't answered in this video, please email lauren.coyle@culver.org. Otherwise, thank you very much. We'll see you on Wednesday.